guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this great comeback story that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a young guy. He's 24 years old. He is on his way to medical school, and he's going to share his story about events that happened 3 years ago in 2019 when he met this girl that truly led him down the path to become RP'd. I'm speaking in code here. But you're going to see back then, guys, that like a lot of you, if you're honest, back then he was the polar opposite of what he has become and is evolving more into day by day. He was the classic nice guy. Clueless, blue pill, nice guy. And just like many clueless, blue pill nice guys, gets his heart ripped out and stomped on by a pretty girl he really liked. You're going to see here when he was at college, he met this girl, and really pretty, not the type that would usually give him attention. And sure enough, he starts behaving just like dudes in the movies, where, you kiss the girl's butt, pour out your feelings, do everything that she wants, at her beck and call, all these things. And in the movies, the guy gets the girl. But in real life, it doesn't happen. In real life, they jerk you around, toy with your emotions and feelings, carry you around like you're their little pet. And that's what happens to this guy. And just a never-ending BS he goes through. But fortunately, he comes to his senses eventually. And there's going to be a little betrayal from so-called male friends in this story, the whole 9 yards. And I'm doing this, guys, as a great example through his story about the typical things that happen, that maybe a lot of you guys have been through something similar or may in the future. A teaching tool what not to do, and I will point these things out along the way, what's really going on, how he should have behaved, but to show that a guy can learn and eventually move past these ways like all you guys can. If all of you have that white knight in you that's dying to come out and mess things up every time, this will show you that you can do it. And believe me, this guy has a lot of moments here that you're just going to make you guys crazy. So, I don't want to get any more details. So, it starts off, he says, "Hello, SSM. I've been a follower of your channel since late 2021, and I never thought I'd find a channel that actually seeks to help out men. Your channel has provided me with hours of both useful advice and hilarious content. I appreciate what you do. Keep up the good work. Anyway, I thought I'd tell my story to help others who may find themselves in similar situations. If possible, I'd rather stay anonymous, but you can call me Leroy. English is not my first language. I'm Hispanic, so I apologize for any mistakes made." Man, I need to start collecting money. Every time somebody writes and says, "English is not my first language," $1 every time. I'll be very wealthy in a few years. He says, "I'm currently 24, and let me just start by saying that for the longest time, my self-esteem has been extremely low for most of my life. Only recently have I started to value myself as a man and seeing myself as being worthwhile." That's great, brother. Good for you. "I was never very popular with the ladies in high school and for a large portion of my college years. To give you an idea, my first relationship was in 2021. Another messy story for another time if you want to read it. And only recently have I been getting some attention from women. In the present, I'm definitely more confident and have abandoned my blue pill ways. I'm still learning, but I'm definitely no longer a simpish blue pill who prioritizes women." Well, good, because when you do that, the shit that happens in the story to him will happen. You need to prioritize yourself, brothers. I know many of you know this, but I'll say it again. You come first. Nice guys always put the girls' wants and needs first. That's what nice guys do. Bad boys, or men that have been around the freaking block, they put their needs first. And they check the girl. And it's night and day difference in how they treat you when you do that. However, I definitely know I'm going to earn a few smacks in this story. We'll see. I'm dividing the story into segments so it's easier to digest. I include a lot of relevant details, so I'm sorry if it drags on a bit. He says, Part 1, Meeting the Succubus. Appropriate name for her. He says, my story takes place throughout 2019, starting around March. And it particularly starts with a girl in my college campus. Let's call her Lisa. Lisa's a pretty attractive girl, long black hair, good figure, and a decent face. She hung out with a group of mutual friends that we had at the time, and we mostly did not interact. Our interaction started when I once saw her at a bus stop. She was alone, and I was talking with a friend of mine while heading toward a facility. I noticed her, so I stopped and said hi before moving onward. 2 days later, she added me on Facebook. I assumed she asked around for my name because we had never been introduced. While a little creepy, my heart jumped at the thought that she looked me up. Yeah, you're like, holy shit, this hot girl Facebook friend me. That probably made your whole day. It may not seem like much, but as someone who was always ignored by women, unless they were my friends or they just wanted attention, I was curious and a little excited. See? I added her back, and some days later we actually started talking in person. Soon enough, we exchanged phone numbers and Snapchat info. We started talking more and more, and I felt a good chemistry. So one day, I shoot my shot, and I asked her out, and she said yes. Good for you. Good for you for having the balls to ask her out. Unfortunately, that's pretty much the last time you showed any balls for a while. He says here, I'm over the moon for a few hours. However, I soon start to doubt myself, a trait which I'm working on getting rid of to this day. I started to think that maybe I put her on the spot or cornered her. Later on, I asked her if she felt pressured to say yes. Don't say that. That's going to scream insecurity. She said she wasn't ready for a relationship, so I took it on the chin and agreed to remain friends. Smack! You're not interested in being friends. You're interested in being romantic, dating, hooking up, all that. So don't ever accept friendship, guys, if she's not willing. If you don't want friendship, don't be that fake friend. That's what nice guys do. The nice guys pretend they'll be, okay, I'll be your friend. And meanwhile, they're just pretending, okay? And women know this, okay? She knows you want more than friendship. Just say I'm not interested. Hey, if you change your mind, you know how to reach out to me. End of story. Because otherwise, you'll get jerked around like you're going to see here in this story. Never accept friendship if you don't want friendship. And quite frankly, I wouldn't even waste my time being friends with girls. He says, mind you, at this point, I had no intention of continuing to chase her and generally felt we had a decent, friendly bond. But you didn't want to be friends with her, bro. As you will soon see, she makes sure to change that as soon as she can. Part 2, hook, line, and sinker. Do you write for fun sometimes? From this point onward, she starts dropping weird hints and comments that she might suggest a bit of interest on her part. Here we go with the messing with his head. She actively seeks me out, texts regularly, and engages in a lively conversation. She calls me charismatic, says I look good, have a nice smile, etc. Being confused at this point, I let myself get emotionally invested. He says, I know, smack. Yeah, smack. I made the mistake of showing interest again, and then she rejected it. Sounds to me like she is an attention WHORE. You remove your attention, then she bombards you with attention, texting you and all that. And then the second you start giving her attention again, then she rejects you. That's how attention WHOREs operate. Throughout all this, she gets me to trust her, and I stupidly open up about my depression, and she claims she wants to help me. At some point, she claims to have bound me to her since I tried to better myself for her. She saw me as a pet project that was hers to fix, apparently. She got me to trust her even more, and I spilled some very dark secrets that no one else should know. Bro, this is just some girl that you're friends with, that you would like to be more than friends with, but it didn't happen. And now she's just stringing you along because she likes the attention. She knows you really like her. She knows you in a heartbeat would be dating her and sleeping with her, but she's not interested in that. So you should not be revealing these deep, dark secrets, honestly, to anybody, to be perfectly honest, because it could come back to bite you in the ass. At this point, I let my depression consume me. My other issues, coupled with the situation, had me broken. I'll admit that I was being very needy, a needy, whiny bitch at the time. Never, ever an attractive quality that a man would have for a woman. I even made the mistake of crying in front of her, not once, but twice. Smack. Guys, they show that shit in movies and all that when the guy cries in front of the woman, and women may even tell you they want the guy to cry. No, they don't. It turns them off, okay? They may say they want that. They don't. They're going to think you're a pussy, okay? Even the most loving women will think their man is a being pussy because they want the guy to be strong always, okay? Is it fair? No. We're human. We're going to have our moments we break down, but you got to keep your cool. I'm telling you right now, I get shit about this all the time, but the second guys start doing that and whining about their problems and making their girl their therapist, it will turn them off, even the good ones. Keep that inside until you can go to one of your bros or family members. But don't make your woman your therapist, or certainly a girl that you're trying to impress. But of course they show this bullshit in the movies, and the girl in the movies are all like, "Oh," and they go out and they like you and all. No. He said, "I can feel the whole brotherhood smacking the hell out of me right now." Yes, we are. But you're learning. You didn't know. At all this, she always reassured me and kept peppering hints to make sure I was on her leash. She even accidentally sent a picture of herself in her underwear, which she deleted but described in unnecessary detail. She is messing with you. Now she's sending you pictures of her in her underwear to mess with you, to keep stringing you along as her little pet. This is what the girls do. Meanwhile, gals like this are hooking up with Chad and Tyrone, who certainly don't cry in front of them, certainly don't aren't at their beck and call, certainly don't put them first, right? Total aloof, indifferent guys. Part 3, the new player. After some time, a new player joins this iffy game. Let's call him Kenny. Kenny, huh? It sounds like trouble. He was a friend of mine who I met on campus. He was my polar opposite. Confident, loudmouth, social, and charismatic. Kenny made me think we were good friends, and we frequently met up just to talk shit in general. At some point, I introduced Lisa to him. We can see where this is going. And in private, I made it abundantly clear to him that I'm interested in her and asked him not to make a move on her. If you're interested in her, you should have flat out asked her out before, and obviously since she wasn't interested, moved on. Being the friend, this tactic, which nice guys do, that girl isn't interested, so they decide, I'm going to be her best friend. I'm going to show her how so much a nice guy I am and do all these nice things for her, and then in time, she'll see how wonderful I am, and just like the movies, then she'll fall in love with me at the end, and we'll live happily ever after. There'll be fireworks and the full moon and bullshit like that. It doesn't work that way, but so many guys buy into this. But he learns, and I know you guys have learned this. He supposedly agrees that he won't, and that's that. Of course, they very quickly hit it off and become fast friends. I obviously think nothing of it. At this point, I'm losing absurd amounts of weight due to my depression and my infatuation with Lisa. To top it all off, she knows this. Why? Because my dumbass confirmed it to her in private. Smack. If you're losing weight because you're overweight and want to be healthy, good. Do it for you, not some chick. And then don't go saying, I'm losing the weight for you. She claimed to be concerned for me, but still kept up the old tricks to keep me on the hook. At this point, I'm close to getting a surgery, so I also have that pressure on me. My sad self keeps giving her attention in hopes of getting her approval, and she takes it all in. Right there, getting her approval. Have you ever seen a bad boy do anything ever to get a girl's approval? Never. Why? Because they don't give a shit. They're not trying to get her approval. You ever notice bad boys will always say what they want and say what they mean and not care what anybody thinks? You think they're caring about approval? Nice guys seek approval, and women don't like guys that go around seeking their goddamn approval. I even got drunk and drove home once amid my depression, and this is the only time I've ever done this, and I regret to this day. During all this, she claimed to be concerned and even hugged me tight because she didn't want me to go. But this isn't even my lowest point. Oh no, that was on the day of my surgery. After I wake up, I texted her that I was out. She claimed she wanted to know I was okay, and we started talking like normal. Then she casually confesses that she has feelings for someone else. At this point, I just break. I can barely breathe due to the absurd, painful surgery, and she drops this shit. I immediately tell her we should stop talking for a bit, that my feelings are still there, and I didn't want to hear that. This catches her off guard for the first time in this whole mess, and I told her no. So, bro, you have to understand this. She knows you obviously have the hots for her, and that you would take her in a heartbeat, and it's not cool that she's jerking you around and messing with your mind. That ain't cool. But also, she ain't your girlfriend, so she can date anybody she wants. I'm being honest here, okay? So, you can be pissed off at her for jerking you around, but you wanted her to treat you like a boyfriend, but you put yourself in the friend zone and kept yourself in the friend zone. You could have gotten out of the friend zone by saying, hey, look, I'm just not interested in being friends. I'm actually interested in dating, but if you're not interested, I'd rather we just, stop talking. See what I mean? So, yeah, you can be pissed at her for a lot of reasons, and she's an a-hole, we can all agree, but you did keep yourself in the friend zone by behaving in this way, and also that She's young. She's going to get some dick somewhere. So you can't be too surprised. Anyway, it says part 4, rock bottom. I stopped talking to her effective immediately and proceeded to bawl my eyes out. Dude, it's one chick. Thankfully, I was at home, so only my mom and dad, his stepfather, saw me in this sorry state. I start losing even more weight, and my mom, who knows about this whole mess, has to basically force me to eat. When I can finally leave the house, my close friends were shocked at my weight loss. I even saw her once or twice when I went to campus, but she could never directly look at me. Throughout all this, Kenny asked me how things are going with Lisa. I tell him it's a mess, and I stopped speaking for her for the moment. He seemingly takes my side and claims that she wasn't worth it. I carry on normally for a while until I decide to text her. At this point, I resolved to not fall for her again. Yeah, we'll see. But I thought she still cared for me as a friend. I asked if we can meet up to fix this mess. She agrees and we set a date. A date as an appointment, not a date. Conveniently, Kenny is there. I tell him what's going on and he leaves as soon as Lisa arrives. When we're alone, I ask her why she was never direct with me, and she claims it's because she didn't want to ruin the friendship. She didn't want to ruin her little puppy dog following her around whenever she wanted and being at your beck and call. Again, she knew you liked her, she knew you had the hots for her, but she didn't care. She wanted the attention. She loved the attention. And she probably has multiple dudes just like that, just like this guy. And it's not cool that she does this, but women do this. And this is why guys cannot allow themselves to be put in the friend zone and stay in the friend zone. You like her, you ask her out. She turns you down, you say, okay, move on. Contact me if you change your mind. That's it. End of story. Don't be like this. I keep saying this 19 times over, but I cannot be any more clear. All this shit could have been said. And by the way, I think it's important to kind of dig deep as to why it's so important to him to have this girl care about him so much. Some guys really get that hooked on a girl because they want, honestly, because their family life wasn't good growing up. They wanted some woman to love them. So therefore they get this attached, holding on to this hope. It's an important thing to address. Anyway, he says here, I tell her we could have saved ourselves this turmoil if we were up front. I ask her why we were acting like we were exes, and she just stays silent. She eventually confessed that a similar incident happened with her male best friend, and she doesn't know why or how it happens. So she has a history of this. She cries and says she doesn't want me to hate her. Don't be mad at me. I even get her to admit she's dating someone else. I ask who, and she seems nervous. So I cut her off and say it doesn't matter. I say I want a clean slate as friends, and she agrees. No, you don't want to be a clean slate as friends. You don't want to be her friend. You want more than friendship, and she ain't the type to have a relationship or date anyway. But you won't do that. You keep pulling the friendship shit. Part 5, waking up. We're getting there, guys, to the good stuff. Soon after our last meeting, the semester starts. For 2 days, me, Lisa, and Kenny play the part of friends as though nothing is wrong. Notice it says playing the part. On the third day, however, it happens I show up with a female friend of mine who knew about the whole issue. We join a group of friends that includes Kenny and Lisa. While there, Kenny leaves us to go speak with someone else, and someone else blurts out, "Where'd your boyfriend go?" My friend hears this and asks me if Kenny and Lisa are dating. At that point, something in me just snapped. Let me tell you, SSM, something that has never changed about me is my temper. Even on my most blue pill days, I always had a temper that caught most people off guard. Because nice guys usually don't have tempers. It takes a lot to set me off, but when it happens, it always catches people off guard. My friends know about my temper and notices my shift in demeanor, so she literally flees as soon as I answer, I'm going to find out if they are. I walk over towards Kenny and ask to speak with him when he's done. As soon as he talks to me, I immediately ask, are you and Lisa dating? He immediately gets an oh shit expression on his face. He tries to explain away, claiming they didn't want to hurt me and that we should sit down and talk. There's a freaking surprise. Kenny and Lisa hooking up. Who could have ever seen that coming? You're picking up on my sarcasm. I simply say there's no need to and goodbye. I then return to the group and say goodbye to everyone. When I hug Lisa goodbye, I whisper, I found out. And for the first time in my life, I know what they mean by deer in headlights. I leave the class before she can even get a word in, and later that night, I get 2 texts saying, I'm sorry, and you weren't supposed to find out yet. Again, you weren't dating, but she knew how much you liked her, and this is a dude you thought was your friend, and you knew that they hit off immediately. I saw this a mile away the second they met. They're going to be hooking up. What happened to bros before hoes, huh? But this guy doesn't care. And she doesn't care either. She knows you like her. She doesn't care this is your so-called friend. Your so-called friend doesn't care that you like her either. Sorry I went through this, man, but you got a very important life lesson about human nature here. I didn't answer. At this moment, I realized that Kenny was banging her while he consoled me. I realized I was her lapdog that she could pet on the head while screwing someone else. I was played like a fiddle, and at that point, I was done. Done with simping. Done with chasing. Done with giving attention. Just done. Hallelujah. The next few days, she tried to smile at me and engage in conversation while I just ignored her and spoke to other friends. She finally finds her spine and sends me a scathing text. She compares me to Kenny, basically saying he's everything I'm not. Well, that's real nice. She used the fact that I told her about my strained relationship with my biological father against me. She says she has nothing to apologize for and she's sorry I feel this way. How about apologizing for deliberately jerking you around, knowing you liked her, messing with your feelings, sending pictures of you in her underwear, that type of shit. You know, at the end of the day, you kept yourself in the friend zone and all that, hoping that she would see you for how wonderful you were, but she's an a-hole. We're not going to deny this. Drags you around like a pet and all that, but you're not totally blameless because you allowed yourself. You know, I'm being fair here. She calls me hateful and immature and warns me not to mess with her friendships. At the end, she tells me to stay away if I'm bitter. Me being done with talking anymore of what she says, write her an equally scathing text. I call her out for leading me on and taking advantage of my trust. I tell her I would have done anything for her approval at some point, and she knew it. Well, there's a problem right there. I emphasize what a relief it is to not have to deal with her games anymore and how I've been smiling a lot more since I stopped speaking to her. I use her words against her and tell her if I can get over not having my biological father in my life, you two are just an afterthought. I tell her I don't care how in the right they think they are liars and manipulators who deserve each other. They are, and they do deserve each other. I tell her I have a screenshot of all our conversations so she can talk shit with her buddies, but if she turns to my friends against me, I'll pull those out and let the public be judges who's the biggest a-hole. I end up by saying you and I are done, the topic is done. Consider the issue solved, and I block her while she tries to type back. She tries to contact me through Messenger. I don't even open the message, and I block her on every app I have, and I thought that was the end of it. But nope. Part 6. We got a page left, guys. We'll have the good ending here. Talk about a lot of freaking drama here for you young guys here. When you get older, you're not going to put yourselves in a situation to have this kind of drama, but that's what young people do. He continues, he says, once she sees that she can't contact me, she finally becomes unhinged. She begins to stalk me throughout campus. Oh, somebody doesn't like getting the attention anymore. One thing about Lisa is that she has big eyes, which make it very easy to notice when she stares at you. Oh, she's got the crazy eyes, huh? Great. She stands off in the distance, staring at me, peers from the stairways, and inserts herself in conversations if she knows who I'm talking to. Kenny even had to grab her chin once to keep her from staring. Okay. At first I felt vindicated. She thought I'd beg for her friendship and remain her lapdog, but it backfired spectacularly. She couldn't handle that I can do just fine without her in my life. Kenny wasn't much better. He could barely look at me. However, the stalking continued for months on end, all the way into 2020 when the pandemic started. I was extremely unsettled to see her look at me like this, like I was a piece of meat. I had multiple friends who witnessed her disturbing behavior, so I know it wasn't my imagination. Well, maybe it sounds like you dodged a bullet with her. Good thing you didn't get into a relationship with her. Thankfully, the pandemic separated us, and I haven't seen her since. I don't know or even care where they both are. I recently, as of 2022, encountered a mutual friend who briefly mentioned Lisa to me. My response was simply, good for her. Not sure if it was a bait to test me whether I cared, but oh well, not my circus, not my monkeys. Because after all this time has passed and you've grown up and you've learned a lot of things, you don't care. It's like, whatever, you're indifferent. And that's the worst thing you can do to people that screw you over, be indifferent. And conclusion. He says, as for me, I'm focused on my schoolwork. Good. Don't be focused on these wacko girls. Ever since the incident, I've ironically gotten more female attention. Even gotten my first relationship, which crashed and burned spectacularly. I've even had a solid 9 or 10 get nervous around me in a good way. She stuttered while speaking near me, and I've caught her looking a lot. Truth be told, it's about my aloof attitude that gets their attention. A lot are the type of women I liked in high school. Athletes, dancer women who have most men at their beck and call. Meanwhile, I'm 5'3" and not fat, but definitely not in shape. My focus, however, is solely my studies. I'm hoping to get into medical school so I don't need a distraction. I thank you for what you do, SSM. Your videos have inspired me to share this story in hopes of it helping a guy who's in my position at some point. Society has no problem treating us like crap, so it's up to us to prove it wrong. Thank you for what you do and keep up the great work. Well, bro, good story. Definitely a lot of, how can I say, teenage shit in there. I know you were 21, but no offense, but that's what was going on. But it sounds like you've grown up a lot and learned a lot and matured a lot, so good for you. Now, again, I'm going to give some important feedback after reading this whole story here, which I'm sure a lot of guys would agree with. Number one, I said this 19 times, I'll say it again. You're interested in a woman, guys, for you guys dating relationships, you ask her out. If she's not interested, just wants to be friends, then that's it. You're done. Because don't pretend to be that guy who's going to be her friend when you really want to date her. Because number one, you're not going to get what you want. And number two, she knows it. And a lot of gals like this will string you along like their little puppy dog for the world to see, because the world knows what's going on. Other women know that you're that puppy dog, and they'll lose respect for you. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. And you saw what happened to him. Go after what you want, okay? Number two, do not be the type of guy, whether it's a girl, if you get a girlfriend, this is the guy who wrote this and other guys out there, you start dating a gal or she becomes your girlfriend, do not be that beck and call guy who she can have whatever she wants, that guy that puts all her wants and needs first, doesn't check her on her BS. You do that, they'll disrespect you, jerk you around, all that. You get my point. I talk about this all the time. So for this dude writing this, I want you to focus on your studies. I want you to get into medical school and become a great doctor. And good for you for going for it. Now, you said you're 5'3". Okay. You're a shorter dude. You can't do anything about that. But you said you're not fat, but you're not in shape. I want you to start working out. I want you to join a freaking gym. If you don't know how to work out, get a trainer. Pay a package for 5 sessions. It's worth your money. Start lifting, hitting the gym and all that. You don't need to look like a freaking power lifter, but you can get yourself fit, looking good. That will help you down the road because you are a relationship guy. And you'll feel better. And the more you feel better, you're going to act better. You're going to walk tall. No, not to make a joke about the whole height thing. And with you being aloof and focused on your purpose, which is your studies, you're going to have more female attention. But once you get that attention, you got to be able to handle yourself right. And by you working out and exercising and looking good and doing well on your purpose, hopefully you'll handle things better. And no, in the future, you ask a girl out, you fucking have balls and you do it, and she turns you down, you don't be the friend, the buddy that she strings around. You learn this. So don't do that ever again. And you actually start dating a girl romantically. You don't put her on the pedestal. You don't kiss her butt. You put your needs first. Can't make that any more clear. And I don't want you to go through any more of this drama like you did in this story ever again. You were young, 21, obviously raised in the narrative of how things are, how men are supposed to be. Everything in your story was so much like a freaking movie. The movie we've all seen when we were younger. There's plenty of them. And in the movies, that guy always gets the girl in the end. But in real life, no, it doesn't happen that way. But in my opinion, you dodged a bullet because she did prove to be a freaking wacko and the stalking thing. And that guy wasn't your friend. Another lesson, about what some guys can do. I said before, bros before the 304s, okay? And it ain't cool. You got a friend hooking up with a girl that he likes, not cool. Absolutely not. But anyhow, that's a topic for another day. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. I'm sure you most certainly will, but he's improved, so that's good. Keep watching this material, my material, other things, improving yourself, and you're going to be all right. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.